Hello everyone, my name is Juan Rosiles. I'm taking the Engineering Architecture 3 class at Joliet Central High School. Let's begin. This is my semester 2 final presentation. My first project is the lamp. I had to research different lamps online to see which one I would like to design mine off. I was going for mostly a hanging lamp because it gives a really unique look, but I also wanted a table lamp because I wanted to put it on my desk. In the end, I came down to 3 lamps to sketch off. And it's a table lamp, a kind of like how's that? A tall lamp, and a hanging lamp. I had started sketching for these. I did a table lamp right here. I did parts for a hanging lamp and a 3D view of how the hanging lamp will look like. And this is the parts for the hanging lamp. Then I started making prototypes, which in the end I chose to use a hanging lamp. I started by doing the top and bottom, which consisted of 40 sides, which will take a long time, so I only decided to do 6 of the parts. I also changed the diameter that I was going for. It originally was at 4, and I switched it to 6 inches. Now these are the side pieces that we're talking about. I only made 6 because I didn't have the material to make 40 of them. And this is how it looked like when it was fully assembled. Now I can move on to my modeling. For the modeling, I made the top and bottom piece and a side, which I only had to make one because I could copy it multiple times as I only needed 40 and they were all the same design. Then it came on to assembling, which I made an exploded one also. Now for the CAD drawings, this wasn't really that much of a problem because it was just 3 parts and all of them were the same. Now I can start my second prototype, which I used a laser cutter to laser cut cardboard so it can be an exact measurement, but not using material that I would waste. And once again, I didn't cut out all 40 of them because I didn't want to waste material, and I only needed 6 of them to make a stand. Now this is how it looked like fully assembled. It was functional, it worked, so I now move on to my final product of my lamp. And for this one, I used wood. And this one took very long as I now need to laser cut all 40 pieces, and each sheet of wood could only fit 5 of them, so I had to repeat this process 8 times, and each time I laser cut it, it took 30 minutes as I need to recut the line just to make sure that the wood would fall off. Now I did a dry fit, which was basically assembled to see that all the parts fit together. I also want to stain it because it will give it a rich color. But in the meantime, I realized I made a mistake with my bottom piece. If I would have assembled it and glued it, there will be no way to take out the light bulb, or if the light bulb will go out, there would have no way for me to fit my hand through it. So I had to recut it and make a big hole so that I can fit my hand through. Now I've started staining, which only took me 2 days, as I used Danish oil, which is more convenient for time wise. It was a blend of stain and varnish that takes less time than usual stain. Now I did one final dry fit to make sure the parts connected after the staining, which I had no problem. And now I glued and fully assembled. This took only like 30 minutes or so, as I only needed to glue in 2 parts to fit together. And in the picture at the bottom is how it looked like in my living room. Now this project was finished. Now move on to my AirPod case. For this project, I recently bought some new AirPods, and I didn't want to spend money on some case that looked boring, so I decided to take my own and found this design online that I want to make. Now I can move on my rough drawings, which I kind of did not know how to draw it, so I just did some simple ones and a 3D one to see how I want it to look. Either way, these design was I changed as I made many adjustments on the way. I started with modeling, which I didn't really know how to measure the case of the inside, so it took me a while to find out that Apple actually has a document where they have all the measurements for each of their products that they make. And I found my AirPods, which was generation 4, and I just copied the dimensions they had, and made a drawing in the middle of my model where my AirPod case would go. Also made it at before it started the front part of the car and the back car, so that's where the lid will open and close. And now it was time for my prototypes. For my prototypes, I only did where the hole would be because it doesn't really matter the outside of it. It only matters if the AirPods actually fit in it. Which the measurements that were on the Apple document was wrong, and the depth was wrong, and the width wrong, and wouldn't fit at all. So then it came to my second prototype, which I adjusted the width and the depth from my previous prototype, but it was the right measurement. So it was a very, very tight fit. And I couldn't get my AirPods out, which I was stuck with it for like at least 3 hours until I decided to pry open my 3D print, in which I had to destroy it. But I did get my AirPods out. Now move on to my third, fourth, and fifth prototype. For these, I printed them at the same time, but each were different. The first one, I adjusted the height. The second one, I adjusted the width. And the last one, I adjusted both. The one that I adjusted both didn't work as well as it was a little bit too loose, but the second one, at which I adjusted the width, was perfect for it. Now I can start my final product, but once I 3D printed, but I realized there was no magnet hole so that the lid could stay on, and the lid even fit on it. So I had to refix this later. To fix this, I made my model wider so that magnets could fit in, and I used a dial cover to measure the height of the lid. Then I made a test run right here to make sure that the magnet holes would fit and the lid. Once that was done, I could finally 3D print once again. The magnets weren't that strong to hold on to it, but I still used it as it was still functional. Now I had to do some inventor drawings. These weren't that much harder, but the problem that I ran into was that I needed an explode assembly, and it was one whole part, so I cut it in between where the front and the back started, so I could use an explode assembly for it. And that's it. Now it's time for my flower pot project. For this project, I recently moved rooms in my house and I had extra space on my desk, so I wanted to make a flower pot, which I have many cactuses around, which I wanted a cactus in my room. So I started online, searched online to find different designs that I could use, and I found this one and this one. I wanted to make like a design of this on the outside and use a drip tray so I can carry the water that I doesn't need. I started with a rush sketch, but these sketches were so terrible. I didn't even like how I started, but I just kept going with it. I want to give like a pattern, like in the first one right here, which it looks very unique. So I moved on to my modeling, and that's when I really said it. That's it. I couldn't take this model anymore. I scratched it and redesigned it. I watched some YouTube videos actually that showed me how to make this unique pattern on the outside of it. But I made it way too big, and when I tried to adjust it, it didn't look the same, so I scrapped it. I said I said enough was enough with all these unique designs, and went to a simple vase, but it was way too wide still, so I did redesign it a third time, which I came to my fourth, which I stuck was just a unique curve to it, which worked, but I also need a drip tray so that the water can flow out. So I started modeling my drip trays, but I didn't really know how one looked except for the first picture that I found online. So I tried to model after this one. So I sketched this one and made my second one, but it worked out, but it will make my vase too tall. So I scratched this one and went with like a regular plate. It looks very modern, very simple. So I just used this. Then I move on to my inventor drawings, which wasn't that really hard except for my vase. Because of the unique curves that it has, it was hard to dimension. I also had to add a detail view for the inside for where the holes will have the water to flow out. Then I can start 3D printing. This took 11 hours to print because of the horizontal dashes of black, because I want to make it a unique modern look. So it took 11 hours because of that, because I switched in between white and black for the supports that it has right here. So it took very long. And this is the final product. For this, it actually failed, but I didn't have the time to reprint it again, so I just kept it like this. It's still functional. It just didn't finish all the way up. It should have just went up like another inch or two. And that's it. I want to thank everyone for watching this. All my friends, my senior friends who finally left, which just leave me alone. But it was because of them I'm here. So thank you everyone for watching, and see you at the next one.